Welcome everybody to Pacers Daily. I am your host, Hery Acosta. The Pacers have made their first NBA Finals since the 1999-2000 season, and it will be against the number one seed in the NBA, Oklahoma City Thunder. Don't get me wrong, the Thunder are an absolutely wonderful team to watch. They have a bunch of star players. Shea was the MVP this season, well deserved. But if there's one team that can match the style of play of the Thunder and take them to 6, 7 games and potentially even beat them, it is the Indiana Pacers. Now the Pacers were the fourth seed in the Eastern Conference, beat the Bucks in five. They defeated the number one seed Cavaliers in five as well, and they defeated the third seed New York Knicks in six. A lot of it has to do with fast pace. Now these are all going to be keys to how the Pacers can defeat the Thunder in the NBA Finals. All starts with fast pace. Now, the way the Thunder play, they run most of the game through Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, but they also have some very good weapons. J-Dub and Chet are both all-star caliber players. Lou Dort and Hartenstein are very good role-playing starters. They have a very good starting five, one of the best in the league. Now, most of the game is going to run through Shea. Shea will try to get his own shots. If he can't, he will open up the game. He's a guy that can get you 6, 7, 8 assists a night while scoring 30 to 40 points. And if the Pacers can continue their defense the way they were playing in game six, where they were holding Brunson to under 40% shooting, holding Cat to under 40% shooting, it's all going to transition into fast pace. The more shots they miss, the more turnovers they get, the faster the Pacers are going to end up playing. In the Eastern Conference Finals, the Pacers had 74 more fast break points than the New York Knicks. That is an insane number. Obviously, the Knicks are not a fast-paced team. They never have been. But just the fact that the Pacers, even off a make, the Pacers will throw the ball in, already have someone down the court, easy layup, easy dunk. Many times in that game where Neesmith would be open, Siakam would be open, someone would be open on the low post. The ball goes up to them, automatic bucket. So the Pacers must continue with that pace if they want to beat the Thunder, who the Thunder are the best defensive team in the NBA, and that's not even including how good Alex Caruso is on defense, how good Casey Wallace is on defense, what good 3-and-D players Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe are. Very good defensive team. Pacers also have some very good defensive players, but that defense, their offense is actually going to have to trump the defense of the Thunder. Now, we saw how this worked. Knicks were a better defensive team than the Pacers were throughout the series. But the Pacers' offense was just too good for the Knicks in the 4 games that they won. Now, game one was an absolute slugfest of offense. There was not a lot of defense played. In the first about 3, 4 minutes, the Pacers were 9 of 9 shooting. Now, of course, the Pacers went down 17, 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and then the craziest comeback, in my opinion, in NBA history occurred in that game. Halliburton hit that shot. The series was pretty much clinched after game one. That's why I believe that if the Pacers can just score about 110 to 120, about that 110 to 120 range is when the Pacers are deadly. If they score around that area, they tend to win. Now the Pacers go under 110, that's a different story. We need players like Siakam to keep getting 20 to 30 point games. Halliburton's gonna have to contribute the same way he's been contributing all playoffs, double doubles. Nemhard's gonna have to keep hitting threes, mid-range shots. Turner's gonna have to step up from three. Neesmith's gonna have to have one of the games he had in game one against the Knicks, where he just was lethal from out there, 8 of 9 from three. That's one of the most important parts of how the Pacers can defeat the Thunder this year. Another big key, this is one of the biggest ones because both teams have a very deep bench. Pacers will run 10 to 11 guys a game, but so will the Thunder. Both teams have a lot of players that can start for many other teams in the NBA. Like I always say, players like Obi Toppin, Benedict Mathurin, TJ McConnell, and on the Thunder side, Alex Caruso, the other Jalen Williams, Players like Casey Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, they can all be starting caliber players on different rosters, but they're all getting paid to be role players on some of the best teams in the NBA to contribute to perhaps win a championship. What helped the Pacers out a lot was the bench points in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's also what helped the Thunder against the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves' depth did not run too deep. There was some games where Terrence Shannon had a decent game, or Alexander Walker had a decent game, DiVincenzo had a decent game. Naz Reid was struggling the whole series. But you would think a team like the Timberwolves, who also had some really good bench players, could handle a team like the Thunder, but it just never happened. So it's going to be a series that bench points are going to determine a lot. The minutes where Shea's not playing, the minutes where Halliburton's not playing, where Chet's out, Siakam's out, J-Dub's out, Turner's out. And you just get the same amount of energy on both sides. Alex Caruso comes in and brings crazy energy. McConnell comes in, brings crazy energy. Case and Wallace comes in, energy. Obi Toppin, energy. These are the two deepest teams in the league, which is why they're both where they're at. And so that's going to be very important if the Pacers want to come out on top. Their bench is going to have to contribute more than they've ever contributed before. And another thing, Pacers have done this all throughout the playoffs. They were 3-0 against Cleveland away. They were 1-1 against Milwaukee, and they were 2-1 against New York Knicks. Pacers have lost 2 games, all playoffs, on the road, which is an insane number. They've won game 1 every series. They've also won game 2 every series. Now, Milwaukee series, they were at home, first 2 games. That's a little bit different story. But against Cleveland and New York Knicks, who were both higher ranked, both favored to win both games at home, and by a decent margin, too. Pacers came, won both games in Cleveland, and then proceeded to win both games 1-2 in Madison Square Garden. In the Cleveland series, they closed it out in Game 5 at Cleveland. They, of course, didn't close it out in Game 5 in New York, but they did close it out in Game 6. Everything in this series, besides what I talked about, is going to come down to how the Pacers play Game 1 or Game 2. If the Pacers win Game 1, they're going to have the best chance of winning the series. Pacers lose Game 1 and they win Game 2, they're still going to have a great chance of winning the series. At least one of those 2 games needs to be a victory in the Pacers' favor. They cannot go into Gainbridge Fieldhouse 0-2, which they have yet to do all playoffs. They've gone 2-0 in the Gainbridge twice. Of course, they lost Game 3. They've lost Game 3 every series, which is kind of interesting, actually. But they're 3-0 in Game 1, 3-0 in Game 2, 3-0 in Game 4, 2-1 in Game 5. Of course, 1-0 in Game 6. No, in Game 6 they've played all playoffs. And so it's going to be very important. Oklahoma just refuses to lose at home. And so this is going to be a very tough test for the Pacers. They want to secure their first championship. But as Indiana fans say it, in 49 states, it's just basketball. But this is Indiana. Basketball was born here. We breed basketball here. So Indiana's hoping that they can finally get over that hump. They have not won a championship in the NBA. They won 3 in the ABA, but those are no longer, those don't really matter anymore. We're in a whole new league. It's 2025. Pacers are finally back in the finals. Underdogs have been the underdogs. Even against the Bucks, they were the underdogs, and they were the higher seed. Everyone's been doubting the Pacers, which is kind of what's been helping them. They love being the underdog. Halliburton said it the last Inside the NBA show at Gainbridge. He said that all the players are used to being the underdogs. Siakam's used to it. He won in 2019 with the Raptors when they were the underdogs against the Golden State Warriors. And so, team full of underdogs. Nembhard was a second-round pick, his draft. Neesmith was, the Celtics gave up on Neesmith after a year and a half, 2 years. Obi Toppin was given up on by the New York Knicks. Just a bunch of players that came out of nowhere Ben Shepherd was a late first round pick. McConnell was undrafted. Just a team with very few lottery picks because Mathen was a lottery pick. So was Jarris. Obviously, Obi, Halliburton. Halliburton was also given up on. But they also have some very good late draft picks. Siakam was a late first round pick, and they've been able to build a chemistry, build a good team, utilize a bunch of different players. They utilized Tony Bradley. No one really thought that they'd be saying, "Oh wow, Tony Bradley's getting some good minutes in the Eastern Conference Finals." That's just not something that everyone would think. But Thomas Bryant was struggling at first. Robinson was out rebounding him like crazy. Bradley came in. Robinson wasn't as effective on the glass. But then Bradley got hurt. Bryant came in game 6 and just lit up the place. 11 points in 12 minutes. Had a block. Grabbed a few rebounds. Had a great game. That's what we're going to need. Pacers just all around need to be better than the Thunder. There's no other way around it. The Thunder are the toughest team in the league. Very young roster. 100% will probably run it back next year. Whether they win or lose, they will be back. And so this is the time for the Pacers to step up, grab their ring, and then focus on the future from there. As always, this is Pacers Daily. I am your host, Hery Acosta. And boom, baby, always.